Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a new little member of the Williams family here with me. This is Adeline. Say hi. Say hi, Adeline. She doesn't know what to think about these lights. They're so bright. She's not a fussy baby at all. She's usually very chill and relaxed. So this should be easy to film while I'm holding her. Maybe I can move the camera down a little bit so you guys can see Adeline plus the mum tum while I tell you guys about my labor and delivery. So before we get into the video, I'm filming two videos today. I'm filming this video, my labor and delivery story, and then I'm also filming a 1 week postpartum update on me and what's been going on with little Miss for the past week. I'm 8 days postpartum today, so Adeline's 8 days old, and we're gonna tell you about our labor and delivery story. Before I jump right into the video, I wanted to let you guys know that there is only 1 week left to order your Aaryn Williams and ITZY special edition, limited edition diaper bag. The diaper bag that I designed, it's a diaper bag backpack, and I'm gonna put a link below for you guys to check it out because there's only 1 week left to order the bag, and we're very excited, and we are really hoping to hit our goal of 100,000. If we hit that goal, then we're going to be unlocking another charm for free. We already unlocked the macaroon charm for everyone for free, and if we get hit 100,000, we're going to be able to unlock the daddy's girl charm for free for everyone that's ordered the bag. So go get your orders in, or your pledge, because it's on Kickstarter. So go get that in and let's begin. Let's see, I went in, I was I think 39 weeks and 3 days when I went in, or maybe 39 weeks and 4 days. I'm not really sure. I ended up having her the day before my due date on November 29th is the day that I had her, and I was due on November 30th. So at the beginning of the week, it was either Monday or Tuesday. It was Monday of the week. I went into my doctor's appointment for my regular weekly doctor's checkup, and he checked me and he said that I hadn't really progressed any since my previous appointment. And guys, I don't even really remember what I was. At the previous appointment, I think I was a 2, and I want to say I was a 2 again at 39 weeks. I think I hadn't progressed since I was 38 weeks. And I went in and he did the check and everything, and he was like, well, let's get you scheduled to come in for induction. And if you guys have been following my vlogs for a while, you know that last time I did get induced with my first baby, Skyla, and it was a great experience. So I have nothing against inductions at all. But this time I wanted to experience something new, and I wanted to experience what it was like to go into labor naturally without having to be induced. And I don't know, I didn't want to be induced this time. So he directed me into, it was like he wasn't really giving me an option. He just said, we're going to schedule an induction. It wasn't like, do you want to be induced or not? He just said, we're going to go ahead and schedule you an induction. I'm going to put you in the next room so you can speak with so-and-so from scheduling, and we'll get you in. He's like, I want you to come in tomorrow night for Cervidil, and then the next morning we'll have a baby. So I was feeling like a little apprehensive at this point because I didn't really want to schedule it. And I went in to see the scheduler and I asked her, I said, is the reason he's scheduling me for induction because he wants to make sure that he's going to be the doctor on call to deliver me, or is there like a reason that I'm being induced? Because it was kind of all happened really fast, and I was a little bit confused. And she said, well, the thing is, like, our practice isn't going to be on call after the 29th. We won't be on call for a whole week. So if you deliver after the 29th, which my due date was the 30th, she said if you deliver after that for that next week, which would have definitely been when I went into labor, she said it would be a different practice that would deliver you. Here's Skyla. My in-laws are watching Skyla right now so that I can film this. They're in town. So anyway, I wouldn't have had my practice deliver her if I would have gone into labor on my own. They wouldn't have been back in until I think he said December 7th. They would be back in the office, that they would be on call again. So when she told me that, I was like, yeah, I wanted my practice to be on call. Even though I saw a different doctor from my practice at different times during my pregnancy, just because that's the way they work. I wanted to see them because that's who I was familiar with, and that's who I liked. So I just didn't want to risk going into labor with people that I'd never met before. So I called Nick. I went ahead and scheduled it, and I called Nick and I asked him what he thought, and he said that he wanted to go ahead and do it for the same reason. So we went ahead and scheduled the induction. I was still kind of upset about it. I was having like really mixed emotions. If you guys watched my labor and delivery vlog, you know that I was feeling a little upset. So my mom and I decided to drive to this place in Atlanta. It's called Skinelli's or something like that. That serves eggplant parmesan, and they're known for putting women into labor within 48 hours of eating the eggplant parmesan. And there's like all these pictures on the walls of all these babies who've been delivered after eating the eggplant parm, and it put them into labor apparently. And so they have you sign this book, and then if you go into labor 48 hours later, you can go back in and you get like a gift card and a t-shirt, and you can put the baby's picture up on the wall, which I'm not going to do, just because since I was induced, like that's not fair. You know, I didn't actually, I don't know if I would have gone into spontaneous labor in 48 hours, but later on in this, you'll hear that I probably would have. But I'm not going to go back because I feel like it's cheating the system if you go and get induced. That doesn't count. So we went and did that, but on the way to having our dinner, I started having really intense contractions. Like we were in bad Atlanta traffic, like stopped bumper to bumper. My contractions were so strong and they were getting so close together. And we got to the restaurant, we were eating, my contractions kept getting worse. This was the night before I went in for induction. And while we were there were these two cops sitting next to us eating, and I kept telling my mom, I said, I think I'm gonna go into labor right now, and if I do, I'm gonna ask these police officers what to do, because there's no way we're gonna be able to get back to the hospital in this traffic. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And so they kind of tapered off a little bit, enough where we felt confident that we could drive home, and we did. We drove home, made it home without contractions, and then they ended up stopping that night. I didn't have any more. So it was a close call, kind of, but we didn't go into labor that night. So the next day, it was just business as usual. I didn't have any contractions or any labor signs or anything like that. I went and got my hair done because I knew that it would be a long time before I could get in to do that. So I went and got my hair done, and then Nick and I, we packed our bags and we got ready to go into the hospital. We ate at Texas Roadhouse, and I was feeling super emotional and super just like weird. Like I was very emotional about Skyla no longer being an only child. Was just very emotional about the whole thing. Like I felt so uneasy at dinner. So we got to the hospital. I was just feeling still so nervous. It was such a different experience than my first one because I was so excited going in the first time. It's not that I wasn't excited this time, because I was very excited, don't get me wrong, but by the way, I apologize for this situation. My milk came in and they're just out there just saying hey, so sorry if that offends you. I was very excited, but just feeling nervous. It was just a different feeling. It just wasn't the same as when we went in for Skyla. So we checked in with registration. They took us upstairs. My hospital room was massive, guys. Like once again, that was in my labor and delivery video, but the hospital room was gigantic. Had a huge pool for women who are gonna do water births or just who are gonna labor on their own without medication, which I think would be amazing to get into a hot shower when you're having those contractions. Man, maybe if I have another baby, I'll try to do natural next time. I don't know, it was intense. Anyway, so the labor room was just freaking massive. I got into my hospital gown, and I did bring my own gown again this time. I did it with Skyla, and I enjoyed it because I thought it was really cute for pictures and also for like the vlog and stuff. I thought it looked really good. It was just fun too, because it felt like, you know, Also, I just want to add, the hospital gowns that they had there had so many buttons and situations going on around this area. I couldn't ever even put my gown back together after breastfeeding. It was it was a tangled mess, because after I gave birth, they gave me one of their gowns to change into, just to like wheel me down to the recovery room. And it was not very easy to maneuver with. So I highly recommend Gownies by Baby Be Mine. I'll link them below. So, okay, so I got my gown on. We met the nurses. They were super sweet. They said that there was a DVD player, and a TV. The TV remote was like in my hospital bed, so Nick kind of jumped in the hospital bed with me, and we were watching TV, and he was like, I'm only in here because the remote's attached to your bed. I was like, gee, thanks. So we're waiting there, and she was gonna check me, but she was just waiting a little bit. I guess there was like a little bit of a wait for some reason, and Nick was like, I'm just gonna go to Walmart and pick up a DVD, because it would have been a 30-minute drive back to our house to grab a DVD. So he went to Walmart, which was just a mile down the road, to get a DVD, and he got Logan Lucky and brought it back. We watched like half of it before we both passed out. But when she came in to check me, they said that, I think at first, I have like notes in my phone, but I think at first they came in and I was like 2.5. Like right when we got there, I was 2.5 centimeters. And then they came and checked me like maybe 30 minutes later, and I was already a 3. So I was progressing as we were sitting there. Like right after we checked in, I was already progressing. And it's funny because they hadn't given me Cervidil or Pitocin or any sort of drugs, but my contractions started like right when I sat down in the hospital bed. The weirdest thing ever. And they started picking up. I was timing them. They started at 6 minutes apart. It's so crazy. 6 minutes apart, I'm timing them on my phone. I'm like, this is a joke. Like, how am I dilating right when we get to the hospital? Like, it was perfect timing. And then they started picking up. I was timing them at 4 minutes apart. Crazy. And she called the doctor to tell her like an update, and the doctor said they're not going to do Cervidil. She said I was already progressing far enough along that they had no reason to do Cervidil. They said that I would probably just like go into labor right away if they put the Cervidil, and they wanted me to deliver the next day and not that night. They wanted me to just like labor on my own overnight kind of, but she also wanted to start Pitocin at midnight, which I don't even think I needed. Honestly, I really don't think I even needed the Pitocin. But at 10 p.m., they gave me Ambien because they wanted me to sleep and have the baby the next day. And I really think that the Ambien probably slowed down my contractions, but I only slept for probably 3 hours after they gave me the Ambien. And at midnight, they started Pitocin really slow into my IV. But like right as they started giving me the Pitocin, my contractions started getting extremely painful, and like 3 minutes apart probably. And so she decided to give me some pain medication into my IV. It was like some sort of narcotic. I don't know what it was, but it made me feel not good. I'm gonna put a pillow underneath her. Okay, maybe I won't. It did not make me feel good. It made me feel nauseous. It was pointless because it actually only worked to hold on, like the pain, whatever she put in my IV only worked for 30 minutes and the pain came back full force. So it wasn't worth it. I wouldn't do it again. So that's how I feel about that. But it just made me like doze, zonk out and dizzy and nauseous and crap. So the contractions started coming on at this point, and I was in a lot of pain. They were 3 minutes apart, and I told her how much pain I was in, and they checked me, and I was 5 centimeters at this point. Once I got to 5 centimeters, I asked for the epidural because I was almost in tears because of how much pain I was in. And I finally asked for the epidural, and she's like, well, we have to put a full bag of water or something through your IV before we can give you the epidural. I'm like, okay, please just do it fast because I'm just like dying. So they do the water. By the way, they put the IV in my forearm, and I feel like I probably still have a bruise from where they put it in because it was the most painful IV I've ever had. I like the one in my hand a million times better. And they kept giving me these ice packs for it that were those ice pack pads that they give out for postpartum. and they do not stay cold for anything. They stayed cold for maybe 10 minutes. It was a joke, and I finally had to be like, can you just put some ice in a glove and like tie a knot in it and call it a day, because these pad ice packs are not working. She's like, okay, sure. They were really good. They gave me warm blankets and stuff because it was freezing in our hospital room. The nurses were great. So anyway, they put the bag through my IV, the bag of water through my IV. And they called the guy for the epidural. So he comes up to do my epidural, and there's like an anesthesia cart that he has. I guess that's what it's called, an anesthesia cart. And he comes in with his anesthesia cart, and he's like, this cart doesn't, like, it's not working. He's like, the screen's completely black. I'm gonna have to get a different cart. And at this point, my contractions are so intense. By the way, right after this, they checked me and I was already a 7. So in this time that I was waiting for the anesthesia cart to get changed, I had progressed 2 centimeters and I felt like I was dying. I couldn't breathe. It was a mess. So the nurse calls down for a new anesthesia cart, and she calls down. I don't know who she called, but they're like, hello? And she's like, I need a new anesthesia cart. And they said, hello, I can't hear you. What do you need? She's like, we need an anesthesia cart up here, like right away, a new anesthesia cart. She's like, okay. Oh, guys, waiting for the new anesthesia cart was the longest. I don't know how long, but it felt like an hour, but I know it wasn't. So finally, while they're doing that, he's preparing my back, I think. I think he was preparing my back at this point. I don't really know if he had to wait for the cart to do that or what, but he's preparing my back. And while he's doing that, because my contractions are getting closer and closer and closer and closer together, he's telling me, like, put your shoulders down, sit like this, like, I don't know. He's telling me how to sit, how to position myself, but I'm trying to stay in position while I'm having contractions. But it's very hard to do. Like, I was up on all 4s at one point when I was struggling with these contractions because they hurt so bad. So finally, he's ready to put the epidural in, and he tells the nurse, he goes, she's all twisted up. I can't put the epidural in. She's gonna have to like relax. Like, I wasn't even sitting there, which I thought, whatever, but he could have just said, can you get back into position, to me, instead of telling the nurse, who was like right here in front of me. So she's like, okay, relax your shoulders, straighten your back, or curl over the pillow or whatever. So immediately he puts the epidural in, and my left side goes completely numb. My right side felt fine, and the pain was starting to go away, but immediately my whole left side was numb. The epidural took on one side 1,000,000 times more than the other. So in my last epidural, that did not happen. It was equal on both sides. So then the nurse wanted me to lay on my left side, and I said, but isn't it like gravity, where if I lay on my left side, more of the epidural is going to go to my left side? And because I feel like already that my left side is more numb than my right. And she said, well, it's not immediate, but yes, the more you lay on one side, the more numb that side will get. So she's like, so just start off on your left side and we'll switch over to your right side in a minute. And I should have just said, no, let's start on my right side, but I didn't. I just listened to her. Isn't it crazy how we do things even though we know we should do something different, but we do it anyway. So I laid on my left side, and finally I kind of called her back, and I was like, I think I need to roll to my right side because I can't feel anything on my left side, and it's starting to freak me out. So she's like, okay. So they rolled me over, and it freaks me out not being able to move. Like, I couldn't roll myself over at all. That was I hate that feeling. And by the way, when it came time to push my left leg, like, I couldn't even, it was just a mess. Like, my right leg, I kind of had a little bit of control of. My left one, like, when they put it up on the little foot pedal, like, if the nurse wasn't holding it the whole time, it would have just flopped over to one side or the other side. It was just like, it was like a rubber band, or it was like a, I don't know, what would you call it? It was like a dead fish. I don't know. It was pretty bad.